Welcome back, everybody. This is Doc with Doc and Lefty. We're glad you're here listening to me tonight. Lefty is off working at a legitimate job for a change, not just being a lawyer. Before the break, we talked a little bit about what we're going to talk about after the break. We're going to talk about President Erdogan of Turkey, and he's a leader of what I believe is the AKP. Now, I can't remember what it stands for, but it's the ruling party. He's been in power for a long time. He first got elected to positions of power back in, I believe, 2001. And essentially what he has done is he has taken Turkey from a moderate, secular Muslim nation and marched it steadily towards an Islamist state. Now, Islamist state might be a little bit over the top, but he definitely wants to reestablish the caliphate. He definitely wants to have Turkey be the center of the Muslim world. And he definitely wants to introduce Sharia. Now, it's not Sharia law because Sharia means law, and I think it's Farsi. Anyway, I can't remember what language, but anyway, it's Sharia. And that is the law of Islam, which is very, it's anti-Semitic. It's anti-free speech. It's anti-free will. It's anti-women's rights. It's anti a lot of stuff that we believe in the West. And they were just marching it right down the thing. And one of the things that back when we started this war with Iraq, the Kurds warned us about is the Turkish. They all said, listen, we can't trust Turkey. They're not on our side. They don't believe what we believe. And of course, us being us went, well, hold on, you're Muslims too. So what gives? Well, the thing is just like there's a lot of different Christians, there's a lot of different Muslims. And the Kurds are the ones that went, hold on, they're going to gas us. They're going to attack us because we are Muslims, but we believe, in being much more moderate and having everybody have their say. And this Erdogan fella doesn't. So fast forward to now, from 2001 to now, the Kurds are the only thing keeping ISIS at bay in Iraq outside of Iranian forces going over the border, right? But basically, it's the Kurds over there. They have actually been able to force Turkey to at least come to the table to negotiate the existence of Kurdistan in the north part of Iraq. Isn't that nuts? And that was because Erdogan wanted to hold on to power. So there's a lot of things going on over in Turkey that's going to affect us. Imagine Turkey, our core NATO ally. Because keep in mind, even though Israel's our ally, they're not a NATO ally. And NATO is our number one priority, right? That's our big gun. Can you imagine one of the Turkey, our primary Middle East ally in NATO, saying, well, we think we are going to pass Sharia and we're going to have not a democratically elected state, but we're going to have a caliphate or set it up like a caliphate so that we're kings and sultans and everything else like we had back in the day. Now, I might be overstating that a bit, but that's really the direction it was going. And, you can read any place. You can read in Salon. You can read on Fox. You can read anywhere. That is exactly what everybody was thinking. So all these minor parties rose up, including the Kurds, who finally hit 10% of the vote, so they get some seats. Erdogan reached out to all of them and said, well, let's form a coalition. At this point, well, at least this point on Sunday, they all said, no, we're going to form our own coalition and you're going to have to work with us. Now, the problem is he only needs like 20 seats in order to be able to rule, but he's not going to be able to rule without, having to discuss things. And the reason all that's important is Turkey is now undergoing an upheaval, something similar to an upheaval that we went through, not necessarily in 2008, but in 2012, when there was a clear path, the Obama path or the non-Obama path. And right now, Turkey's facing the same thing, the Erdogan path or the non-Erdogan path. And Erdogan still has the ability to pull Turkey out of NATO because he hasn't been the best ally over there in our fight against ISIS or in our fight with Iraq or anything like that. He had not that good of an ally. And in fact, they won't cross over into Iraq to help coalition forces fight. Well, this may force him to rethink that. That could help us. The other thing that people don't understand is a lot of the oil from Russia goes through Turkey. It's also going to be going through Greece. So that's a big reason to have them firmly democratically elected and firmly on our side. Now you might say, well, geez, Doc, how is that going to impact us here in Iowa? Well, there's a lot of reasons. It's a lot cheaper to ship it through Greece and Turkey, oil and gas, to Europe. That means a lot of our spigots that are turned on here that are being piped to Europe are going to be turned off, being able to remain here or to go to other close-in markets, such as, well, China, right? And if you can lower the energy costs for China, suddenly we can start importing their products again. Now, I hate even saying that, but that's an advantage that we have here in Iowa, is that we have a lot of businesses that rely on cheap labor overseas to provide cheap parts over here. The last thing is, when you're talking, $7 a bushel for corn, yeah, transportation costs aren't all that much. But when you're talking $2.38 for a bushel of corn, spending another, 50 cents a bushel for transport is enormous. And the cheaper our gas is, and the cheaper our oil is, and the cheaper our natural gas is, the more effective we become as a nation. Everybody talks about President Obama and the economic turnaround. The economic turnaround didn't happen until oil prices plummeted. It also didn't happen until the Federal Reserve loosened up their rules on lending. And between those two things, suddenly our economy is turned around. People can get money and they can afford to drive places. They can afford to get goods in. So having Erdogan stop and go, well, hold on, we're going to have to negotiate a little bit better deal with NATO. We're going to have to negotiate a better deal with Russia for their oil and pipelines. And we're going to have to increase our importation of foods, mainly beef, because it's tough to grow beef in a mountain. It's a mountainous country. It's tough to grow beef there. We're the ones that are going to see the benefit of that. We're giant pork producers, giant beef producers, and we're giant soybean and food corn producers. Now, people might say, what's the big deal about soybeans? Edamame, that's a delicacy over there. I mean, those people eat it up. So that's how this thing over in Turkey is going to affect you. We're going to be back right after this break. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to talk about, but it's going to be something fun and interesting. We'll be back right after this. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.